You have
Absolutely.
said what has been clear for a very long time. The problem is the voters. They are the people who delivered Donald Trump to the Electoral College victory. They are the people who believe his lies. They are the people who've gone beyond his lies into wilder beliefs in the QAnon space that even Donald Trump doesn't advocate. But there is a news convention, and I think it is beyond a convention. I think it's built into the very mindset of so many people in the news business that you must never even think that the voters are a problem. It has to be something else. It can't be them.
Absolutely. And I am the first to say that propaganda is big and misinformation is big and they're real things and they do lead some people astray. But this is not what is happening here with conservatism in this country, and particularly in this moment. Conservatism in this country has always been against democracy. They never wanted full democracy and always pushed against it. We never even had anything approaching real democracy until 1870 with the passage of the 15th Amendment, which finally gave Black men the right to vote, but women in general still didn't have the right to vote. That didn't happen until 1920 when with the passage of the 19th Amendment, right? But by that time, Jim Crow was already raging and Black people were basically disenfranchised in the American South where most of them lived. So you didn't get back to something that approached democracy until 1965 with the passage of the Voting Rights Act. 48 years later, the Supreme Court goes in and guts that, right? So all along, conservatism always wanted Americans' electoral system to be less than democratic. What we have now, though, in the last, 20, 30 years, is people casting about, looking for another vehicle that says that I can latch onto and give that my anti-democratic fervor. And for a long time, they were latching on to people who said you have to be more moderate. They had latching on to the Reagans and the Bushes. But Donald Trump comes along and says, you can actually do your anti-democratic thing without having to moderate. That you can go head first into it and be your full self and unapologetically say that you do not want to be a democracy, and that is okay. And that is what we are seeing now. And right now, the Conservative Party is the Republican Party, and therefore they become the threat to democracy. I don't really care if people are squeamish about it. I don't care if they think that it's hyperbolic to say that. I don't care if people say, well, you're pushing us towards civil war if you say half the country is problematic. Well, they are. If you are answering on a poll that you don't believe that someone run an election who actually did, and you don't believe that Donald Trump had created a problem with the insurrection and what have you, you are a problem. If you are electing people who want to overturn a legitimate election and are actually saying that they're not into democracy anymore, then you are the problem. You can't put that off on somebody else. You can't say, oh, I listen to North Fox News. I can't listen to QAnon. It's you.
Yeah, and registered Republicans are not half the country. They're a small minority of the country.
Absolutely.
And the Republican Party and Republican presidential candidates from Donald Trump forward now have no plan, no hope, no strategy of winning the most votes for the presidency. That isn't the plan. That was what Mitt Romney was trying to do. He was trying to win the most votes and the Electoral College. Now the plan is nothing other than how do we win the Electoral College, because we know we can never get more votes than the Democratic candidate. And one way to win the Electoral College is to rig it, is to put our new secretaries of state in the key states that will give us the Electoral College.
Right. First of all, isn't it quaint that people used to want to win the majority of the votes? Like what? But also, they're not just attacking on the Secretary of State level. They're attacking on every single level possible. They are attacking the people who work at the election, the ballot offices and work elections, and now they don't want to do the job. Right. So that's all the way from the bottom all the way up to the Supreme Court gutting the Civil Rights Act on every single level. And now you have the Supreme Court about to take up a case about whether or not you can shift the responsibility for calling election away from secretaries of state altogether and give it to state legislatures, which are the epitome of political bodies and are the ones who are instituting, in many cases, the restrictive and oppressive voting laws. So on every single level, Republicans are trying to set up a system where they can have minority rule.